You don't need to announce your path. You don't need to explain your mission. The strength that truly moves mountains doesn't roar. It flows silently, purposefully from within. That strength? You already have it. When you stop searching for validation, when you stop measuring your worth by other people's applause, something powerful awakens inside you. It's not arrogance. It's clarity, a deep, unshakable knowing that you were made for more, and you don't need permission to go after it. Take a look at the world's true builders, the visionaries, the innovators, the ones who changed the game. They didn't climb by shouting from the rooftops. They created in the shadows. They rose early, worked late, and let the results do the talking. Marie Curie didn't demand the world's approval. She quietly changed science forever. Jiro Ono didn't start with a Michelin star. He simply perfected sushi in silence, one piece at a time. That's the magic. Quiet consistency, repeated effort, the kind of discipline no one sees, but everyone eventually feels. The loudest voice in the room is rarely the most powerful. True influence comes from action. It comes from being rooted. When you show up daily not to impress, but to grow, you start becoming unstoppable. You don't owe anyone your every move. Keep your momentum sacred. Protect your vision like a flame in the wind, because early ideas are fragile. They need nurturing, time, and belief. Yours, not theirs. Share too soon, and even well-meaning doubt can shrink what hasn't yet taken shape. Work in silence, not to hide, but to strengthen, to prepare, to deepen your foundation so that when the moment comes, you won't have to introduce yourself. The impact will speak for you. This is how you become a presence that can't be ignored, not by shouting, but by showing up when no one else does, by doing the work without the spotlight, by crafting something real while others are still talking. Start small, get focused, and don't rush. This isn't about speed, it's about alignment, about building something that lasts. Every early morning, every late night, every time you keep going when it would be easier to quit, that's you casting your future in stone. You don't need to explain your ambition. You don't need to justify your hunger. Let others question your silence, while you stay busy creating something worth the wait. Because when you train in the dark, your edge becomes sharp. When you move with intention, you build strength others can't see. And that's where your power lives. In the quiet hours, in the solitude, in the decision to show up, even when no one's watching. So ask yourself, are you seeking attention or creating legacy? One fades, the other echoes. Be the echo. Every day, you're faced with a choice. React to the world, or create your own. One scatters your energy, the other sharpens your power. In a world addicted to urgency, constant updates, instant feedback, endless scrolling, those who master discipline stand apart. While others are busy being everywhere, you must choose to be fully here, present, intentional, focused. Because focus is a superpower in the age of distraction. It's what allows you to go deep when others stay surface. It's how greatness is forged, not in noise, but in the stillness of repeated effort. Think of the concert pianist who practices scales before the world wakes up, the architect who sketches late into the night, chasing perfection only they can see, the athlete who trains without an audience, pushing their limits in an empty gym. They're not doing it for likes or applause. They're doing it because they've made a promise to themselves and they intend to keep it. That's discipline, the invisible force that builds visible results. When you become loyal to your routine, even on the dull days, the tired days, the I don't feel like it days, you begin to transform. Not just what you achieve, but who you are. You stop chasing motivation and start becoming momentum. You stop needing inspiration and start living integrity. And here's the truth. The world respects consistency more than declarations. You don't need to broadcast your goals. Just build them. Quietly, relentlessly, brick by brick. Because people believe what they can see, not what they're told. They trust the results, the transformation, the finished product that leaves no room for doubt. So don't worry if no one's clapping yet. Applause is nice, but it doesn't build legacies. What builds legacies is the work you do in silence, the standards you hold when no one's watching, the promises you keep without a witness. That's the difference between hype and mastery. And mastery requires patience. It asks you to zoom out, to see past the moment and into the mission, to understand that today's repetition is tomorrow's reputation. If you're consistent, you'll become undeniable. And when that moment comes, when the lights turn on and your name is finally called, it won't feel like a surprise. It will feel like confirmation, like the world catching up to what you already knew. You were built for this. So don't get caught in the noise. Don't rush to be seen. Don't dilute your energy trying to prove yourself. Refine your craft. Sharpen your edge. Stay loyal to your path. And trust. The world always notices what's real. Growth doesn't always look glamorous. In fact, most of the time it's invisible. It happens in silence, behind closed doors, away from the spotlight. And that's exactly where your transformation begins. You don't need to document every step. You don't need an audience to evolve. Because the truth is, the most meaningful changes happen when no one's watching and no one's cheering. Private growth is sacred. It's where confidence is cultivated, where strength is forged, where character is refined. It's where you meet yourself without filters, without distractions, without anyone else's expectations shaping your identity. It's easy to talk about goals. It's easy to make declarations. But private growth? That takes courage. It means showing up even when progress feels invisible. It means staying committed even when your mind tries to convince you to quit. It's in those moments, when doubt whispers and discomfort knocks, that you build something unshakable. Not a brand, not an image, a foundation. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs depth, and depth is only created through devotion, not to recognition, but to the work itself. Ask yourself, are you creating from alignment or performing for approval? Because when you act for applause, your energy becomes scattered. Your direction gets blurred. But when you create from alignment, from your core values, your internal compass, you become focused, centered, purposeful. And that purpose is what allows you to keep going long after excitement fades. That purpose is what keeps you grounded when others drift. Look at the people who truly built something lasting. From writers to entrepreneurs, artists to leaders, their breakthroughs didn't come from performing. They came from building, repeating, refining. Michelangelo didn't paint the Sistine Chapel in a weekend. Beyoncé didn't rehearse a world tour in one session. Every masterpiece started with a private decision. I'll show up. Again. So keep showing up. Let your progress be personal. Let your evolution be slow, intentional, deliberate. You don't need fast fame. You need deep roots. And deep roots are grown in silence, in solitude, in the unseen effort that compounds into unshakable confidence. Your future doesn't need fanfare. It needs follow-through. Keep building quietly. Your time is coming. And when it does, the world won't be impressed by your promises. They'll be moved by your presence. The kind of presence that only grows in the dark. So stay planted. Keep watering the dream. And trust the process. It's working, even when it feels invisible. Stillness is a rare power in a world that never stops moving. But in that quiet space, that pause between action, clarity is born. Most people rush when they feel lost. They speak quickly when unsure. They act impulsively just to escape the discomfort of uncertainty. But wisdom doesn't arise from panic. It emerges when you slow down, breathe, and listen. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to be first. You need to be accurate. And accuracy comes from stillness. Think of the greatest decision-makers in history. Rosa Parks, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. Their impact didn't come from frenzy. It came from focus, from the ability to observe what others missed, from the discipline to wait until the right moment and then move with precision. Stillness doesn't mean inactivity. It means intentionality. It's the art of knowing when to hold your fire, when to study the field, when to let distractions pass without chasing them. Because every time you pause, instead of react, you train your mind to see deeper. You begin to notice patterns others overlook. You begin to hear your intuition more clearly. You begin to act from understanding, not emotion. This is where your real advantage lives. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to rush to make progress. One deliberate move, made in clarity, can achieve more than 100 frantic steps. So build this discipline. Schedule moments of quiet in your day. Step away from the noise. Turn down the volume of the world long enough to hear your own voice. And ask yourself, am I acting from pressure or purpose? Am I speaking to add value or to fill silence? Because when you start listening more to yourself, to others, to your environment, you begin to lead differently. You carry weight, not just with your words, but with your presence. Stillness is strength. It's the confidence to wait, the power to watch, the wisdom to withhold when it's not your time to act. Let others rush. Let others react. You sit still. You think. You prepare. Because when your moment comes, it won't require noise, just precision. There's a quiet greatness in those who wait, not in idleness, but in preparation, in deliberate patience, in the choice to build something lasting, instead of rushing toward what's easy. In today's culture of speed, slowing down is a radical act. But speed doesn't always lead to success. Often, it leads to burnout, broken promises, and shallow victories. Real power lies in the ability to say, not yet. In choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term applause. In holding the line when everything around you says hurry. Because the longer you wait with discipline, the stronger you become. This is the kind of strength that doesn't look like effort. It looks like endurance. It's in the decision to pass up quick wins, to turn down shortcuts, to keep building when no one notices, to stay focused when others are distracted. That's not weakness. That's power in its purest form. Power that's refined, not rushed. Consider the inventors who changed our world. Thomas Edison tried over 1,000 versions before he lit the first bulb. J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global force. They didn't rush the process. They stayed in it. They let the struggle shape the success. And now, their work speaks louder than any early announcement ever could. Your work can do the same if you're willing to delay the reward. Not every step needs to be seen. Not every move needs to be shared. Sometimes, the most important progress is invisible. It's the habit formed in solitude, the discipline strengthened in silence, the resilience built when no one's watching. That kind of effort doesn't go unnoticed forever. It compounds, quietly, daily, until one day, the outcome is undeniable. And here's the beauty. When your time comes, you won't have to ask for recognition. The results will introduce you. So choose patience. Choose the path with depth, not the one with glitter. Choose the mission over the moment. Say no to distractions. Say no to premature applause. Say yes to the process. Say yes to becoming. Because what you're building, if it's real, doesn't need to be rushed. It needs to be respected. It needs your attention, not the audience. Keep working in the dark. Keep planting seeds no one else sees. Because when the time is right, you won't just arrive, you'll redefine the landscape. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't need to prove anything. Someone who's grounded, clear, and fully aligned with their path. That kind of presence doesn't demand attention. It commands it. And you don't get there by being everywhere, saying everything, trying to impress everyone. You get there by pulling your energy back, by becoming intentional with your time, your thoughts, your words. When your presence is rare, it becomes powerful, not because you're avoiding people, but because you're honoring your purpose. This is where the real shift happens. When you stop scattering your focus and start sharpening it. When you stop being available for everything and start becoming available for what matters most. Look at the world's most respected leaders. They don't speak constantly, but when they do, the room goes quiet, not because they're loud, but because their words carry weight. And their words carry weight because they've built substance in silence. You have that power, but you must protect it. Not everyone gets access to your energy. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every opportunity aligns with your mission. Start treating your focus like currency. Invest it where it multiplies. Guard it where it leaks. You weren't made to respond to everything. You were made to build something. And building requires boundaries. That means choosing quality over quantity, silence over noise, alignment over approval. It means disappearing from distractions, not to vanish, but to evolve, so that when you return, you're not just present, you're potent, because people remember what's rare. And in a world that's always talking, always posting, always performing, the one who pauses stands out. So don't be afraid to step back, to say no, to be misunderstood. You're not here to explain your greatness. You're here to embody it. Let your consistency become your reputation. Let your clarity shape your legacy. Let your results speak so loudly that words become unnecessary. And when your time comes to step forward, do it not with noise, but with undeniable mastery. You don't need to chase the spotlight. You need to carry the light within you. That's how you leave an imprint. That's how you become unforgettable. Not because you demanded attention, but because when you walked in the room, the energy changed.